You're so nice.
So
You are
cool.
so nice. Oh, I
But
love
it's
seeing you.
I know, you too. Wow. I mean, it's crazy how you can go, because I live alone and I can go days without seeing another human.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you do. And we got to have some friends the other day, socially distanced. And I had to keep myself from just yammering incessantly, like just stop talking.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Actually, after the quarantine started, I got together with one of my friends. And I don't think that he meant for me to just hang out forever. I think he was just like, hey, you could just come this way. You don't have to leave through that door. From like 6:30 until 10 o'clock. I just could not stop. I'm like, and then he was like, okay, there's a reason why we don't hang out.
Oh,
No, he wasn't mean about it. I could tell I was just going on. It was,
yeah.
when there's no one to talk to, then you want to have something to say. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The rest of the time, it's not even hard, huh?
Oh, I know. Every talk takes a turn and listens, and this is interesting. This is
So,
really interesting.
how are you connecting with people?
Um, a lot of it is, phone calls, of
Mm-hmm.
course. A few of these Zoom calls. Trying to get my parents on a Zoom call the other day was hysterical because it was, no, yeah, no, Dad, turn the microphone on. No, okay, now, no, look at the camera.
You know
And
what?
then, we've got, I'm lucky I have a bunch of friends in the hood. So we will take our lawn chairs and sit, 8
Yeah.
feet across from each other and at least see each other.
Oh, that's nice.
But even that still, you're so used to hugging people, you're such a hugger. We're both huggers. And you're
Yeah.
like, hi.
Okay. All right.
But, it's just, I've been working from home already. So there was that, which was made it a little bit easier.
Yeah. Not
Yeah.
much of a transition.
No, but what's amazing? It makes you appreciate those times that you do see your friends and your family, because I haven't actually physically seen my parents in 2 months, and it's just killing me because they're
Oh,
older and health issues. So I, haven't been down to see them. You know
I
how it is.
consider my parents part of the quarantine.
Oh, nice.
So, okay.
Yeah.
What you said, that's no. Actually, I do enjoy them, but I have to go and check on them every couple of days and
Yeah.
make sure they're not driving each other crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
My
That's
dad,
all.
I told my dad, I said, we'll shop for you. And he's like, no, that's the only time I get out of the house by myself to go to the old person's shopping hour. I'm like, all right. Okay. There you go.
Okay. And he's like, keyword is by myself.
Mm-hmm. And I think my mom's like, get him out of the house. Get him out.
She's like, don't take that away from us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
you still working out at all, or just?
I cannot not work out because
Okay.
I will be a very mean and terrible person without expending all of that energy. Yes. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I force myself. It's funny because before the quarantine started, I could skip. Like, I mean, I wandered around the gyms. I said hi to a lot of people. I didn't actually work out, right? And then as soon as like the stress of the quarantine started, there's no way to skip it. We skip
Mm-mm.
it. Like, it's maybe there's no chance for beauty, but there was a lot of chances for beast to come out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm staying in this transformed state.
There's beauty in the beast.
Let's hope, right? For
Yeah.
the children's sake.
Yeah. I know. I've been out hiking and walking because it's just, my house is small. It's hard to work out here, run into things.
Mhm.
And plus it's not the same. So I'm like, I'll just go for a
Yeah.
snowshoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
the. I notice everybody on your side of the mountains. They're doing that.
Yeah.
You just run away and go hike and go. I'm like, well, there's
I
nothing.
know. Sorry.
So how has snowshoeing been?
I
How's the
snowshoe just
snow?
because the snow is getting so soft that you post hole through.
Yeah.
So, it's outside. It's exercise.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's
Yeah.
nice sunlight hitting your
Yeah.
skin. Sometimes
Yeah.
you don't know how good that feels until you can't have it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been nice. And then, it's like 30 degrees up here right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
chilly.
It's
That's
chilly.
chilly.
But the hummingbirds showed up yesterday, so I was very happy about that, which
Yeah,
is early.
springtime.
I know.
Springtime.
Yeah. They're like, what the
Yeah.
hell? So,
Good deal. So,
yeah.
question for you: are you working on
Yeah.
any other books? Or are you working on the original project with the
Um, so I'm in the process of starting book 5, which is going to be
Okay.
Land of Enough. And that's about
Oh,
gratitude, because you have enough, there is enough, and you are enough. We are enough.
yeah.
And how to just really know that, when you realize you have enough, you can get there through the simple act of being grateful for what you already have.
That is very, it's leading my mind back to, I don't remember why you wrote the books in the first place.
Oh,
I know we talked about it. I remember
yeah.
sitting around inside the tea house and we went on and on and on, but I don't remember the exact story. What is the name of your books?
Okay,
What
so
are the names of your books? And then
um,
why?
it's the Land of Children's Book series.
Yeah.
And so there are all these different lands. We started out with Land of Ore. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to create, lessons, life skills for, it originally started out for adults and teenagers, but
Mhm.
then I had the idea to write these kids books, had the names for these kids books, but I didn't know what I wanted them to be. So the idea of creating mindfulness tools fortunately collided in my head with the names of these lands. And so it was
Mm,
through this journey of trying to figure out what my purpose is. You know how
yeah.
we have those times where we go deep, we go dark, and hopefully we emerge out the other end with something
Yeah.
new and a
Oh,
reason
yeah.
for being here.
Yeah.
And that's what that year was, of just exploring why I'm here. What do I get to do? And what are my passions and what do I care about? And one big one is mindfulness and awareness and accountability. And um, that's how the books manifested themselves.
But okay, so first you mentioned going into this kind of deeper, darker place, which we all do, right? Whether or not we recognize it, we all get to the point where things have to stop, we have to reassess and move forward. What what took you there?
Um, I call it my golf course moment, because I live excuse me, near a golf course, and I was driving past the golf course one October afternoon, and I had a good job, had a great job, worked the county, good pay, good benefits, great people to work with,
Yeah.
but I didn't like it, and I didn't really know why. And I'm driving past the golf course one day, and it's a Friday afternoon, everybody's out golfing, and I had that moment of going, wow, I don't care about this. I don't care about golf. I don't care about skiing, just all of the things that I thought I was supposed to really want, because I live
Right.
in Park City and this is what you're supposed to do. And it was that moment of realizing that there was so much in my life I didn't want anymore,
Right.
but I didn't know what I did want.
Did you
And,
know why you didn't want it anymore?
I had to go through a lot. I knew there were things I didn't want, but I didn't know what they were exactly. And I think, and I'm doing this right now too, now that we all have this downtime,
Right.
it's a really great time to do a recheck on what are the things in my life that I don't want anymore. And I think that's such a valuable exercise. So I did this and I realized, you know what, I don't want to work in a job that doesn't fulfill me. I
Right.
don't want to have a life that doesn't, I don't, all of these different don't wants. And as I acknowledged, I was afraid of acknowledging some of the don't wants, because it felt like if you did, then you had to immediately do something about them, which isn't
Oh,
true. Just because you
okay.
can see something and you don't want it anymore doesn't mean you have to blow up your life to get rid of it. You go, okay, I'm not a big fan of that. What can I do to evolve out of that? Just because you don't want the job anymore doesn't mean you have to quit it right then.
But okay. Well, okay, when you say it like that, you don't want it, you don't have to quit right now. You can find another job or transition or do something. But what is it in you that said, hey, slow down, slow down. You don't want this, but you don't have to destroy the world just to get out of it.
Um, I think it was, I think it was those trappings of adulthood, which
Hmm.
in some ways are good. I have the mortgage and I have student loan payment. There's just
Right.
certain things that I had in my life that required, um,
Stability for sure.
yeah, the stability, the insurance, all of that. And so I was really happy to have these things that I still have that keep me safe. But it was
Yes.
that responsible end of us, that if we let it play a role in the decisions that we make,
Uh-huh.
that was a part of me that went, okay, you need to figure this out. And I'm also the kind of person that I don't like to take action unless I know what I'm going to do
Okay.
or have a clear path. And so, yeah, there we go. There's that.
Oh, well, there's that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's that. So, realizing that even though even though I knew what I didn't want,
Uh-huh.
I didn't know what I did want. So I wasn't just going
Right.
to get rid of everything with nothing else to move forward to. I'm a
Hmm.
planner. I like to plan. And so with zero plan, I wasn't going to act.
Got it. It kind of reminds me, I remember it was the year 2000, 2010 or 2011, right about that time, I had quite a few nieces who were graduating from high school, right? And I get to always be the cool aunt, mostly because I was born way late in comparison to all my siblings. Not my siblings, they're right above me, but my cousins that I was really close to, right?
Mhm.
Um, I was a little kid when all of them were coming out of high school. So when their kids came around, I was closer in age to their children. And so, so I've got now all these nieces coming up. And I remember sitting down with a couple of them and I said, you know what, here's the thing. In our culture, in our family, it's hard for us to transition away. It's hard for us to build our life because sometimes our parents expect us to stay, they expect us to help, they've raised us to do that. And there's a lot of guilt and a lot of pressure associated with leaving. Like the
Mhm.
pressure is you can't leave. And then you feel trapped because you know you have a brain, you have all the things that you want to do, and you don't know how to get out of here to do them. And half of you is still back thinking, if I leave, my whole family's going to fall apart because I did this, this, and this for them all this time. And I said, the problem that you're going to face is that you're going to feel like the only way you can get out of here is to have a baby.
Wow.
And all of them stopped. And I said, you know what? Here's the thing. Look at this person and this person and this person. And I went down the list of like all of the people who were just a little bit older than me. The only way they got out of the family dynamic was to get pregnant. And none of them did it on purpose. They just got pregnant and then had to start their own lives. And based on that, had to leave, right?
Yeah.
No longer could make the old family a priority, had to make the new family a priority. And I said, the thing about it is, if you want to leave, just leave.
Yeah.
Just do it. And I think that's a luxury that a lot of people don't have.
Well, and I think too, I think there's that thought that, and again, this is coming from my own perspective, so
Mhm.
I know that a lot of other people are in different positions, but it doesn't have to be an all or nothing. I think a lot
Right.
of
And I want
times.
you to speak on that because I
Yeah.
feel like maybe it's just the people in my world. It is an all or nothing. So how do you find the balance? How do you decide to make the choice that it doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be there's a middle ground or there's another
Yeah.
way. How do you do that?
I think what I do is I know that when I realized that I wanted to start writing the books, or no, when I went into that space of going, all right, what do I want to do?
Hmm.
Um, I realized there were certain adjustments and sacrifices to my life. And again, single woman, I had a stable job. It was relatively easy for me to make these changes, but
Right.
it was that, okay, let's get up early and start writing, or let's not go out with your friends. Let's stay home and
Hmm.
read the book or work on a project or follow whatever curiosities you have. And so the balance was still acknowledging that I had that life that I had to show up for because it
Right.
was paying my bills. But then I also had to make I don't think of it as sacrifice, but some people would, the decision to spend my time where it mattered most for where I wanted to go.
Right.
That balance was, okay, I'm not going to sleep in anymore. I'm going to get up at 5:30 in the morning and work on my books. I'm going to spend the evenings learning what I need to do. And it was, again, I'm lucky because I didn't have all the other distractions like a lot of people do. But I've read
Right.
so many things where they will hide it for an hour in the laundry room to write.
Right. They
You
have
know,
to
you
run away from everyone to
Right.
hide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, if you're trying to get in shape, you're at work all day. Well, you take the lunch hour and you go work out. It's a prioritization.
Right.
And then finding the balance too would get really hard because I really wanted out, especially as the book started to take shape
Right.
and I saw that there was a life beyond what I was doing. I
Yeah.
really, really wanted to get out, but it was that recognition that I still had a mortgage and still had,
Well, geez,
uh,
I'm still responsible and an adult. Huh.
but I have always found, and this is the one thing that I'm very grateful for, is that when I'm ready,
Yeah.
the opportunities or the guides or the resources always show up. And I've known that for a long time, whether it was a small little nudge to say, go talk to that professor, that's going to change your whole academic career.
Right.
Or maybe you should call these people because they might have a great job for you. I mean, the
Right.
things,
Right.
when you listen to the guides out there that I think are there, those things show up. And so I also hung onto that very deeply. Like, I'm going to have this job until
Mhm.
I don't need it anymore. and to take the pressure off of constantly looking for something else.
Mm-hmm.
It was that middle ground of going, all right, I'm going to trust that when I'm ready, the next opportunity shows up.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's hard because you get really frustrated and you walk into the office and you just don't like what you're doing, but you just,
Right.
when you focus on those negative things and all the, through
Mm-hmm.
this evolution of the don't wants to the do wants, if you spend too much time focusing on the fact that you're stuck in the don't wants, you miss out on the joy that the do wants can bring at that moment. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that was that part of the evolution and keeping me really well centered as I could be in that is knowing that I had to focus on what I could do at that moment. And what I could do was to continue writing and growing and getting ready for when the next thing came.
Yeah. I think I feel like what you've just said is pretty significant. I mean, you are stuck sometimes in situations you don't want to be in, and
Mhm.
you're trying to transition out. But if you focus on the stuck part, man,
Yeah.
it makes it hard. But if you focus on, hey, I'm transitioning. This is the time that I'm gonna fill my head with as much knowledge as I can. That's
Hmm.
that's what I feel like this quarantine is for a lot of people. It's not necessarily a time to level up, but it's a time to catch up on all the things that you set aside
Yeah.
that you didn't have time for before because you had to be out. You had to be out
Mhm.
working. You had to be out doing. And now you have time to say, oh, you know what? Let me just refill my cup.
Yeah.
It could be a horrible time, or it could be a time that I take advantage
Right.
and, yeah, prepare
Yeah.
myself for the next thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, like I've been through a number of knee surgeries and knee replacements. And instead of thinking, oh God, this hurts, it's like, all right,
Yeah.
this next day at physical therapy is going to make it so that I can walk again normally in 6 months.
Right.
And that's, you find the metaphors that fit, but
Right.
just like you said, you just have to get through it.
Right. And the 6 months are going to come whether or not you're ready.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Nothing's going
Yeah,
to stop time from marching forward.
I
That's for
know.
sure. Yeah.
I know. Well, and that's why I think during this time, like you say, we have time to level up or change
Mhm.
or evaluate.
Evaluate. Yeah.
Why not spend the time? And it's scary to evaluate. I mean, it's scary when you look at those things in your life that you truly don't want and you've never given yourself the space to go, well, what do I want? It can be terrifying because it could look very different than what you have now.
Right.
But that doesn't
What?
mean you can't make adjustments.
Ah, it brings me back to you said something about being honest with yourself. What did that look like?
For me, it was some days sitting on the floor crying because I had to acknowledge maybe, a lot of my insecurities in the past and, maybe behaviors or actions you weren't really proud of.
Hmm.
Um, Being honest with myself was this to, whenever I was going to make a decision or think about something, I'd sit, and I still have to do this.
Right.
What's my why for wanting to say something, do something, be a part of something? Is it to fit in? Is it, what is it? Is it true to myself? And
Right.
being honest, but here's the other thing, you can't be honest with yourself until you actually really know who you are. And
Hmm.
so developing that honesty within myself took a lot of excavation of all the things I thought I needed to be or wanted to be or roles I thought I should play, and the jobs you should have and the clothes you should wear
Yeah.
and the people you should hang out with and societal expectations or even your own because you just want to fit in.
Yeah.
And so to
Can
just
you can you deep dive a little bit into that? Into those expectations that you had for yourself or those?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in Park City, been up here for 32 years. I love it. But I also knew that I moved up here and I learned how to ski and I was skiing a lot just because that's what everybody else did and that's what the cool kids did.
Right. Mhm.
So, hey,
Yeah.
I'm going to try and be a cool kid. I still like skiing, but once I realized that I don't like it that much, eh, don't have to ski. Um, it was trying to I never fit in when I was growing up.
Mhm.
And so trying to realize that, or trying to think that, okay, maybe I can fit in with this cool group or this group or this group. And, um, it's an interesting question that you just asked because sometimes we go through these things, we don't necessarily verbalize them.
Right.
But I think that for me, it meant just understanding that it's okay if you don't think you fit in.
Right.
and understanding it's okay if you don't want to hang out with that group. Nothing wrong with those other groups of people. They just weren't your tribe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And going, you know what? It's okay if I'm going to be alone for a bit, because you can't find people that are like you until you know who you are.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And then there's
Yeah.
that.
And then there's that.
Yeah.
And it was being willing to say that, wow, maybe I was wrong in trying, not wrong. How do I say this? I think it's just allowing the truth to come out
Yeah.
and finding your best ways to deal with it.
That one is, and there's just a lot. There's a lot to that. And I think it's different. It's different for every person, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
right? We've all lived
Mm-hmm.
different lives,
Mm-hmm.
but allowing the real you to come out that takes
Yeah.
some work. That takes some
Yeah.
effort to actually stop yourself from being in your own way.
Yeah. And growing up in Utah, none of this came from my family. My family's so supportive of everything I do, but you're a single woman in Utah, you don't have any kids, you're not married, I'm single. To go, you know what? I don't have to apologize for that.
Right?
The decisions you make that I've made in my life, I'm proud of. Maybe some of them weren't great, but I'm gotten to the point where every decision I've made has brought me to where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like where I am. And so part of this whole excavation and finding my truth was realize I don't have to apologize for it.
That is
You
big.
know?
Yes.
And not to feel like, realize most people are too worried about what you're thinking about them to think about you.
Right.
And
It's all
realizing
turned
that,
inwards. And
yeah, so
yeah.
that's, I think it was just letting go of what I thought the society wanted of me
Mm-hmm.
and just doing what I wanted of me.
So how did that lead to your first book?
So I started writing the books,
Mm-hmm.
recognizing that there was this other life that I wanted to pursue, that I, had been, blessed to have been given these inspirations for these books. I'm a firm believer in muses and guides, and they picked me for these books. And I had all of the books, I had them all, most of them outlined, different
Mm-hmm.
ideas. And a friend of mine at the time, who's still my editor, still a good friend, I was telling him about him. And you can get stuck in the I'm gonna's.
Yeah.
How many things in life are we going to do? Oh, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to go travel. I'm gonna. Well, I was deep in the gonna's with these books. Oh, I'm going to write this books. I'm going to do this. And he finally one day went, just pick one and write it. I'm like, what? So it was that accountability that somebody threw at me.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's what you do.
Oh.
So I just picked one and started,
Mm-hmm.
and, learned, as I wanted to self-publish,
Mm-hmm.
because I just didn't trust the publishing industry to do with my books what I wanted done with them,
Mm-hmm.
and found out you could do it, because I've never thought you can't.
Right.
People ask me, well, why, how could you do it? I'm like, well, why couldn't I?
Yeah.
So
Right.
I just started writing, and it just started to come. And I think, once you sit your butt in the chair and show the universe that you're willing to show up, it shows up for you too. And so
Okay,
that's,
again, ever so significant. Yes.
yeah,
You show up, the rest shows up. Yeah.
yeah, life doesn't show up until you do. And I read
Right.
that from another person that some people that I study.
Yeah.
And I read a lot of Stephen Pressfield, who writes The War of Art. And his big
Yes.
thing is stick your butt in the chair every day.
Yes, that is a great book for creatives.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't gone through that in a couple of years. I should go back and read that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
really should.
Yeah.
But it was just showing up and just not hanging on to the outcome is
Right.
another big thing, is through all of these transitions that I've taken, I've had to not hang on to the outcome, because if you do, you limit what the outcome could be. Because a lot of times it
Okay.
can be a lot better than what you thought.
Deep dive a little bit into that. Give me an example.
Yeah. So um, I think about the books.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're going to be this, they're going to be that. Well, that's not a very good example. Let me start over again.
Rewind. Rewind.
Rewind. Okay, another good example is this beautiful little house I was able to buy 12 years ago. I
Mm-hmm.
was looking for a house, looking for a place to buy, and I kept looking at other units, other places, and I just finally let go and trusted into what's going to happen. And through a series of crazy events, I ended up in this great house.
Mhm.
Work example. So I was working at the health department, really wanted to get out. I thought I was just going to be able to make enough money on my own to leave. And I finally went, you know what, let's just let go of that idea and see what shows up.
Mhm.
Well, sure enough, a day later, I got a call from a friend who needed some help with her other business. And that was a beautiful transition.
Yeah.
Um, you think about um, situations or people that show up in your life. Well, I want this. So if you hang on to that, then your idea is too constrained that you're not going to be open enough to see what else is showing up to guide you along or to be there for you.
Right.
Um, I think it's just, well, so as another example, I was trying to work on another book last year on patience, and I was trying to force it, and it just wouldn't come. And I just sat back and I'm like, all right, now what? And Land of Now appeared. And I just
Yes.
let it go. I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to listen to what is coming through as inspiration
Yeah.
and let go of the fact that I thought I had to get Land of When done next. And you don't. You
Yeah.
just listen to what's coming because it could be better than what you wanted.
Yeah.
I don't know if did I dive into that enough?
I understand what you're saying. And also I think it's
Okay.
hilarious that you were trying to force patience.
I know. Here's the funny thing. I have started the book on patience twice. And the book on patience has to be patient.
Right. Right. So what was the actual first book that you wrote? Which was the
It was
first one you put on?
Land of Ore, How to
The
Make
Land
Good
of War.
Choices. Yeah.
Talk to me
And
about that one.
I picked it just because it just seemed like a good one.
Hmm.
All of our lands are these journeys where you journey through a land or you're in a land and you learn a new life skill. So Land of Ore is how to make good choices. And it was, you start out by gathering all of your options for your choice,
Right.
not just the obvious ones. And then as you journey through, you leave some behind because maybe what's the intention of the option that you're
Right.
considering? I think if we all, with every choice that we make, if we all stopped for a second and said, why are we choosing this or thinking about choosing this? What is our why?
Hmm.
The world would be a much better place. Because there's been times I've thought about saying something to somebody or doing something, and it was like, that would just be to make them feel bad or, make me feel better.
Okay. Did I smile too hard on that one?
Yeah, I
Okay.
know. And so it's that choice making process. What's the
Yeah.
intention? What are the
Hmm.
consequences of the options you're considering? Who else is affected? So ways to whittle down your options to then
Hmm.
leave with the best option and make the best choice.
Nice.
And people have been really, I hadn't ever seen anything that really broke down the steps for making good choices like that.
Hmm.
It was,
Yeah.
let's make it more methodical. And then it was fun to set in southern Utah because why not? Because it's a beautiful topography and most people hadn't seen it.
Yes. Okay. I did not realize that all the books set basically in southern Utah?
No, no, just Land of Ore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The Land of And, which is that river trip about inclusion. This is a
Yeah.
funny thing. My illustrator, the
Mhm.
amazingly talented Toby Allen, lives in England. And so when I sent him all of the images for Land of Ore, he couldn't believe that topography existed. So I sent him all the movie clips from all the movies that have been filmed down there.
Yeah.
And then Land of And, we wanted it to be just more of a generic river trip where you include all these characters as you float through. And at the beginning, there's these unique rock formations that Toby just created. And I was at a convention selling books, and this family came up to me, and they
Mhm.
were from South Dakota, and they said, have you been to this lake? The lake looks exactly like the illustrations. I mean,
Oh.
exact like the rock
Mhm.
formations. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I
So,
I love the illustration of
hmm
all of your books. It's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. Toby's amazing.
Yes.
Toby's
So how did
amazing.
that work? Do you know anything about how those characters were developed?
Oh yeah. So Land of Ore. It's been really fun to work with Toby because,
Mhm.
again, being the publisher and the author of the books, I have ultimate control.
Right.
And I knew that I wanted to work with Toby. I had found his illustrations, his art before I even started writing,
Mhm.
and it immediately resonated deep within me.
Yeah.
And so when I started getting ready to have the illustrations done, I had used his art as inspiration,
Hmm.
but tried to find somebody local, and nobody was panning out because it was supposed to be Toby. That's
Right.
the other thing. When you're going through life and you're working on the don't wants and the do wants, and things aren't showing up as you wanted them to, maybe it's because they weren't supposed to.
Right.
Trust
The
the process.
substitution you came up with is not the right one.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So I found, I reached out to Toby, and so with Land of Ore,
Hmm.
all of the options were based on petroglyphs.
Oh.
And really fun to see. I still have the original, like he would, do a sketch. I'd
Hmm.
send him all the petroglyphs because you're doing a story like this. We didn't want to have any humans. We didn't want to deal with
Right.
issues of gender or race or any of that. So
Yeah.
let's create all brand new characters.
Yeah.
And Toby loved that because he just got to go, willy-nilly, have at it.
Yeah.
So with Land of Ore, let's use petroglyphs. And so all those options for your choice are based on petroglyphs. And I still have the original sketches next to the photos. It's really cool.
Are they close by? Are they somewhere close by?
I know.
No.
I'll send you,
Oh yes.
I'll
After
send
this.
you, I'll send you that. And then from that, the Land of And, again, just characters that, maybe some things Toby had sketched out for Land of Ore that we didn't use.
Hmm.
And so I, thought, oh, this character is going to fit well for Land of And. Land of I Am, and the more that we work together, the more input I want Toby to have, so he can add in characters that he wants, and he can add his own perceptions. And so it's just been a really fun collaboration. We collaborate more and more. And as we
Yeah.
start the next book, can you draw this? Is there anything you want to put into this that I can include in the, in the text?
Right.
And again, just characters that no one's ever seen before, especially our Yabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Yabbit, because whenever, yeah, but
Yeah.
Yabbit mom. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with the Yabbit and turning that as a main character in every book as well.
Tell me about the Yabbit.
So when
I've got my own. I
yeah,
birthed two of them.
yeah. When I was writing Land of Ore, the kid, there's a guy and the kid kept saying, well, yeah, but, because when we find that we're coming up with excuses in our minds,
Hmm.
the first thing is say, well, yeah, but I don't want to, or yeah, but they did it, or yeah, but, yeah, but. And I kept writing it over and over again. And I went to Michael, my editor, and I said, there's something here. This is something.
Yeah.
And so we created the Yabbit. And then it was the funny discussion of how is it spelled? What's the inflection? Yeah, but, all of that. And then what does it look like?
Yeah.
And fortunately, Toby had this character on his portfolio that he, nobody else, they hadn't drawn it for someone else. And so
Right.
we were able to base the Yabbit on this clown that he had drawn. And it's
Yeah.
been so fun. And the Yabbits are taking on a life of their own. I mean, people really resonate with the Yabbit. When people will come by, I'll be at an event, they'll see the big poster for the Yabbit, and they
Yeah.
just stop and they laugh because it's something that everyone understands. And whether it's, Land of Ore, the Yabbit is there to provide excuses. In
Right.
Land of And, it's about exclusion. Well, yeah, but they're different.
Yeah.
And in Land of I Am, when you're in this maze full of warped mirrors that have come from the negative labels, the Yabbit wants you to believe that what you see is real. Well, yeah, but look at this image. And in Land of Now, it's about being present. The Yabbit wants you to believe that all of the image, or wants you to listen to all the thoughts in your head.
Yeah.
And so it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's the part of you that doesn't know any better yet. When you say
Yeah.
Yabbit, it's a cue to go, wait a minute, why did I say that? What am I questioning? What am I uncomfortable with?
Yeah. Why am I so resistant in this area?
Yeah. I think that's a really good, I like the idea of resistance. I'm going to use that as, resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what the Yabbit is. And we all have a lot of Yabbits in our lives. And
I
so
agree.
pay attention to the Yabbit.
When I was going through your books, The Land of Now, that was the one. Man, like that one kicked my butt, and I was like, this is not right. I shouldn't feel. I
Oh,
look
try
back.
reading in front of a group of kids and you start crying, and the kids are like, why is
What's
the lady
going on?
crying? I'm like, that's okay.
I'm self-assessing as I read. Yes. Man, I looked at that book, and there were so many things in my life that like triggered me all the time. little things. Other people would do them and I'd just be triggered and I'd immediately just go to like, listen. So I smile a lot all the way up until things have to get done. And when things get, then it's like, oh, and this is the other Pella that, yeah, just go along with whatever's happening here or you're going to feel it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't fight the what is.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm a big fan of, listen, if things are moving, we're making progress, we can play, but don't play in lieu of making progress. Right.
Yeah.
And so here I am working with different things, working with different projects, different people, and things are just triggering me. Like, and I immediately go from smiley and happy to we're done,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we're done is my nice way of not swearing. I'm like, because it didn't go like that. It was a lot worse. But that land of now, where it says there are things in your past that you didn't handle the way you think you should have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you haven't let it go and you haven't given yourself any kind of grace or any kind of forgiveness
Mm-hmm.
for what you handled incorrectly.
And that's, you know, that directly ties into discovering and excavating your authentic self, because a lot of times, you know, we look at things we didn't handle well, or we did, and we just want to hang on to being disappointed in ourselves or angry with ourselves. You know what? Forgive yourself. You did the best you could with the tools
Yeah,
you had,
yeah,
and let it, and learn. Did you learn anything from it?
yeah.
That helps again with the excavation of the authentic self,
Hmm.
and it helps you be in the now, because it's not going to do you any good to hang on to that disappointment or anger,
Right,
any good at all. That
right.
just weighs you down.
And you know, yeah, for me it was I didn't even hang on to it in the sense that I was beating myself up, but it was now I hadn't examined the things from the past, and now I was reacting
Mm.
like 100 times past what I needed to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
To compensate for all those times that I hadn't handled a situation right.
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
and it was scary for other people. And it was like exhausting for me
Mm-hmm.
because I was angry. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's
It's
just
like it builds up inside of you. And if you don't let it out, it's going to keep building up and building up.
yeah,
Let it go.
let it go.
Yeah. Well,
Why?
and I've found that with Land of Now, you know, that's that whole section on dealing with the future, and so important for people to realize that there's nothing we can do about the future
Yeah.
unless there's something we can do now. You do it now or not at all.
Yeah.
So if you're worried about the future, what can you do right now to help the outcome later on?
What scenario is playing through your mind right now when you say that?
I'm thinking, okay, so can I do anything if you're worried about money? Well, what can you, are there part-time jobs you can get now? Can you file for unemployment? Can you, you know, what, can you look at your spending? Are you worried about how this whole quarantine is going to affect us all globally?
Mm-hmm.
Can't do anything about that. So you got to just let that worry go.
Yeah.
You know, are you worried about your parents? Well, call them, see what can you do for them. What worries can you take action steps on right now?
Right.
Are you worried about the liquor store closing permanently? Well, then go stock up. Those are
That
the
could be a
things that
real
you,
thing.
right, it could be a real thing. And, you know, if you're worried about, you know, worry about this summer. Will this summer be busy? Will we have the silly market that we have every weekend?
You
I can't worry about that because
don't have
that,
control over that situation.
yeah. And it's just going to take vital energy away from things that I can act on right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Oh. Which, okay, so I'm going to keep bouncing all the way back to the beginning. What was the inspiration for writing about the land of war? The choice.
Um, Choices.
Yeah.
Um, what I had done, this is I had my golf course moment, and then this is my salad dressing moment, which happened right about the same time. I was
Hmm.
having dinner with some friends. I was in this phase of recognizing that I needed to do something else. Had no idea what,
Okay.
but, you know, open to ideas.
Right.
If you're closed down and you're like, this is what life is going to be, nothing else can get through. So I, you know, taking the blinders off. All right, here we go. What's
Yeah.
out there? Having dinner with some friends, and the one friend going to the fridge, asking about salad dressing. Do we want this or this or this? And my other friend says, gosh, what is this, a land of war? And I went, huh, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Zero idea what that meant.
Yeah.
Zero idea what it was going to turn into. but it caught my attention and I hung on to it.
Yeah.
And from there I went home and I just started writing out lands of or, and, all of the land of yes, land of no. Again, zero idea what they were going to mean.
Mm-hmm.
But then after I saw those, I thought, maybe those could be kids' books. I had no aspirations to writing kids' books.
Yeah.
But I just knew that I had to write those down. And so that's, I think that's part of the reason why I chose Land of War first, because it was a first inspiration.
Right.
But it was just this, we get these cues in life once in a while. Well, I think we get them a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to be present and available to hear them and then hang on to them.
Yeah.
And
I
so
really, I
yeah.
like your emphasis on being present.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you came to that, because I think it's easy to live in the past and to live in the future.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy.
It's easy.
It's easier. It's easier. Yeah.
No, it's safer.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
That's
easier.
true.
I think
Right.
it's safer.
Safer.
I had been doing a lot of work with my very good friend Stephanie Barton as a life coach, and by this time I'd been working with her for probably 6 years on the excavation and the being present and the not letting my mind take charge all the time and giving it a break.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable when you give your mind a break, because you think if your mind stops for just a second, everything's going to fall apart. No, it's not.
Ta-da, look, it's still holding.
I know.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. But
Yeah.
it was, again, just, I think, realizing that the old ways that I had been clinging to, of always overthinking and being stuck and stubborn, and this is what I'm going to do, and forging this path, barreling down this path that I was trying to create, wasn't working.
Yeah.
And so it was time to try something else.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And it's scary.
Yeah.
It's still scary. But
Isn't it though?
yeah.
When you realize every day I still have to make this choice,
Mm-hmm.
still be present, to still be mindful.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
accountability. Like, I mean, now you have to be responsible for what you're doing. You
Yeah.
can't just drown yourself in what already happened.
Right. And it's all,
what could happen. Yeah.
So I have to look up. Well, and it's, yeah, when you're working for somebody else and you've just put the blinders on and you're just going along with that life, it's so much easier because
Other people are doing the thinking for you.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
show up. And I read this great quote, and it's like, until the pain of the known exceeds the pain of the unknown, you won't do anything. So when your present moment, however it is, whatever's going on in life, is so uncomfortable, and it becomes more uncomfortable than trying something new, you'll stay in it. As long as you're more afraid of trying something new than you are of what's happening right now, it's hard to
stay
change.
in and out. Yeah.
Yeah. So you need to, when you go to about making these changes, it's definitely realizing, right now what's going on in my life is so uncomfortable, but it's got to be worse than whatever else is out there that I can change to.
Right.
So
what are you going to do now with the books? I remember you mentioned corporate training.
Yeah, so I've got all my books are online for free on YouTube right now to watch, and I'll send you that link. So it's been really fun. I've gotten a lot of great responses. People are viewing the books. Mm-hmm. Why not share? This is the time that we share what we have. We've been, you with your podcasts and my books and so many other people. This is where we get to shine and not necessarily take advantage of, but say, look, we have tools to offer the world.
Right.
And you're all stuck at home, so captive audience. Yeah, so got the book, got the books out there, working on book 5. Mm-hmm. I'd like to do more school readings, and I think these books would be great corporate tools. Talk about a fun wellness day. Yeah. Instead of, the typical boring PowerPoint, I get to come in and read to you Land of Now. And yes, they're illustrated, and yes, they're in rhyme, but guess what? It's 15 minutes, and they're fun, and they stick in your head, and they're memorable.
And they're beautiful.
And they're beautiful.
They are beautiful.
Toby's beautiful. And so I want to really take these tools, because I wrote these books for me. And so they're not just kids' books. They're for everybody. And I want to, when we talk about emerging out of this situation, how can I get these books out to a broader audience. You know, who can I partner with to say, hey, these tools are here.
Yeah.
Let's get these out there and
Yes.
make sure that everybody has access to this information, because I'm the conduit through which this stuff is coming. And
Right.
it's my responsibility to share it with people.
No, I hear you. I do.
And then, you know, working on another book and just,
Can I ask more about the book that's upcoming?
yes,
What is it? I mean, you mentioned it earlier, but tell us
this
again.
one's going to be fun. It's a little bit different. So it's called Land of Enough,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about gratitude because we have enough. In the books in the past, there's always the guide, the wise guide that helps the kid through the land. And then the yabbit, which is more of that, again, we talked about that other part of us, the unknown, the uncomfortable
Yes.
part. Well, this time, the yabbit is the guide. Because the yabbit, the kids, oh, I don't have enough. And the yabbit will say, well, yeah, but what about that? Yeah, but what
Oh,
about this? And point out all of the little things that we already have in our life.
yeah.
Yeah, but what about, you know, so it's, the yabbit takes the kid on this journey through enough to show that, one, you don't need to go off on these different paths for more. You'll, you know, if you go down the path of wanting more, you'll never have enough. Stay in enough to see that you have enough, to be grateful for what you have.
Yeah.
Share what you have. The more we share, the more we realize we have enough.
Yeah.
Don't go down this path of thinking that you're not enough by trying to be someone else or be some, you know, be more of something. Stay in the path of you are enough. And most of our books, they have a journey through.
Mm-hmm.
You start at one point, you go to the other. Land of Now, you were just there.
Right.
In Land of Enough, it's a circular path where they end up back where they started because the kid always had enough. Oops, I'm shaking the table. Because you always have enough. And
Yes.
it's earthquake. But that's what it is to realize that, to circle back to the beginning where we've always had enough and we've always been enough. And
What inspired that?
I was starting another one. I was going to start one on worry. And I find that what I write about is what I need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
When I wrote Land of I Am, which is about getting the power of how I am and how it shapes how we see ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
it was a really hard book to write because I had to face all of the negative I ams that I was so quick to use. You know, and we say these things, negative things about ourselves. That shapes how we see ourselves.
Speak on that.
So we're so quick to say, oh gosh, I'm so fat. Oh, I am not pretty enough. I am slow. I'm old. You know, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
if we were to let someone stand next to us and say the negative things that we say to ourselves, we wouldn't stand next to that person very long.
No.
We might punch them out first, but we would definitely get them out of our lives. However, it's okay apparently for us to continually say these negative things to ourselves. Always, I'm not enough. I'm, you know, I'm too tall. I'm too short. I'm too fat. I'm too, you know, it's shocking when you sit down and you think about the things that we say.
Right.
And it shapes how we see ourselves in the mirror, whether it's a mental mirror or a physical mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to write a book on the power of I am, because most of us, if we're lucky, we don't learn this until we're in our 30s and 40s. Why not teach it to somebody that's 10 or 5 or 20?
Yeah.
And that's where that really came from, was the power of I am, because they talk about it, you see it discussed on the Oprahs and all these other mindfulness sites, but I hadn't seen it put into a visual form like I did with the book.
Right.
And so again, what happens is I know that what I need to work on is what comes out as a book.
Right.
So that was Land of I Am, because Land of Lynn got pushed aside. And then Land of Now, trying to write Land of When, and just realizing that I wasn't being very present. Mind was all over the place. And so when I pulled out all of my resources and notes on Land of Now, it was this moment of just, wow, I need to be more present. And so Land of Enough is really what I'm working on, is being grateful, because it's so easy to fall into this mode of lack and scarcity, especially nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what I need, and I know the world needs. And so that's where, again, the muses are up there going, nope, no. You're going to write about this now. Okay.
Yeah, sure. So I
Sure.
don't have to be patient anymore.
Yeah.
Got it.
That one will come.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I can't imagine what the muse will actually be. Maybe it'll be years of being patient,
Hmm.
waiting for the concept to come together.
Yeah, the irony of the
Yeah.
patience book needs to be patient.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's going to be so good. Can't wait for
Thank
that one
you.
to come out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, well, where can people find you? Where can they find your work? Where can they connect with you?
So, Land of Children's Books. I'll send you the link.
Hmm.
Um, they're there, come through my site, and I'm still shipping, doing all the hand washing and wiping down of things before I ship them out. So it's just shipping from me, from my house, and off it goes. And on the website, landofchildrensbooks.com, there's the links to all of the videos as well. We have our the Yabbit YouTube channel, and I'll send you all these links.
Hmm.
And I just want people to
Oh,
see
you
the
have all the
message.
exercises on there as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. We have activity kits that go with each book. It's travel guides. I want these to be more than just stories. And download the activity kits for the adults too, because again, we all need these tools. Heck, I
Mhm.
should download some and work on it myself.
I was like, that might not be a bad thing to do
Wow. Okay.
today.
Wow, that was pretty good. I know once in
Yeah.
a while I'll read a book. I'm like,
What?
that's,
Yeah.
wow. What?
I know. Smile at your little shine. It's good. It's
Uh-huh.
good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. So we have the YouTube channel. We have the website.
Yep.
Where else? Can we catch you on the socials?
We've got on Instagram, it's the Yabbit. Facebook, it's Yabbit and Friends.
Hmm.
And
And will
I
you
have
spell Yabbit for us?
Yabbut.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yabbit.
but. Hmm.
Yabbit. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yabbit. And yeah, the YouTube is the Yabbit. I think it's all one word. But we're
Yabbit.
getting out there, yeah. It's
We
love
will
the
definitely.
Yabbit.
Yes. This
Yeah.
is so good. This is so good. I can't wait for you to write the next book. One, because I love your books. Two, they're beautiful. And
Thank you.
three, it'll give us another reason to jump on and do this again.
Exactly.
Good deal. So we're going to pretend this is where it ends. And now we can just talk.
Okay, cool. Hey, so I want to set up an affiliate link for you.
Okay. What is
So
that? I mean, you've told me about that before, but what does that
So
mean?
what that means, especially with the podcast, what
Mhm.
you'll do is you'll have, I'll send you the link to where you sign up for everything. So when someone listens to your podcast, they go onto your website or your podcast page and they click on
Mhm.
that link. It goes
Ah.
right to my book, goes right to my store. They get a 5% off coupon and then you get 7% of sales.
Oh,
It's a special
okay.
tracking thing. Yeah. So it's really
Got it.
cool. It's really
Yes.
cool. Yeah. So they'll have to, if they go directly to the book, if they go directly to the shop, um, so what I'll do is I'll set it up and we'll have a 5% off coupon,
Hmm.
and then the affiliate link. So even if they don't use the specific link
Yeah.
and they still use your coupon, I'll still credit you for the affiliate kickback.
Oh, okay. Very
Yeah,
nice.
because we all have to support each other.
You're such an amazing human.
Oh,
Let's
well,
just
thank
start
you.
there.
So are you. That's why we're friends. That's why I love you so much.
I've missed you so much
I
because I
know.
haven't even seen you at the gym because I never go in the morning. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question though. Okay,
Yeah.
so are there any companies that you're already working with where you had a gig set up?
No, not yet. I was starting to think about volunteering at the health department up here, but
Hmm.
they're a little busy right now.
Yeah.
So I haven't gone to any. Once this clears up, I'm going to go work with a couple of companies for free. I talked to Rowdy about doing something, when you guys had a big staff meeting, to come down and do one day and
Hmm.
do a couple of free gigs to
Okay.
get practice and references.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Who else did you have in mind?
So you guys, F45,
Hmm.
the health department up here, because I used to work for them.
Right.
A couple of other just small businesses that I know up
Hmm.
here, unless you have, and if you have anybody in mind that you think would be a great practice run, I'd love to know.
Okay. Well, yes, I am sure I can think of somebody. What I'm trying to do is find companies now where I
Mm-hmm.
can just use their logo and, as say these people are sponsoring this interview,
Mm-hmm.
but also in return say, you know what, she actually has something that's going to be great for your company. When everything is back online, take
Yeah.
a look at this and see if this is useful for you. So it's a two-way sale. It's like, hey, listen,
Oh yeah.
I've got Katie and she rocks.
And I
Also, can I
definitely
borrow
do,
your? Hmm.
I do kickbacks too. So if I get a referral to a
Hmm.
company through you, then yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Cause there's going to be, yeah, they'll be reciprocal when, they're paying me, I'm paying you because you were the referral.
Would you do youth groups, high schools, things like that?
Oh yeah. I have a whole other school. I'll send you my links to my school programs and my corporate programs because I do schools.
Okay.
In fact, a friend of mine's using now, and I am in her wellness high school class. She's an English teacher. She
Really?
uses both Land of Now and Land of I Am for her high school kids. And I've gone in and read to them a couple of times
Okay.
and they
How
love
does
it.
that go?
So I go in and I read. Actually, I go in, they read the book the first time, and then I read it to them again.
Hmm.
And then they ask questions. And she has all these worksheets that she's developed that go along with the curriculum standards.
Okay.
But also, like with Land of I Am, what are some of the exercises with how to stay in the moment? And then she refers other videos and other tools. But she really does follow a lot. She does follow along with the worksheets that I've created, but
Hmm.
then adding in other components. But it's
Nice.
interesting. It's usually is it 1 or 2 day curriculum? I think it's like one day. So she has the kids and she asks questions. They write things down. They talk amongst themselves, and then
Hmm.
they, share what they thought. And
Have you heard any reviews from that?
oh, the kids love it.
I
It's been,
bet they do.
yeah, it's been really fun to go and, like I said, go in and read to them
Yeah.
because they hadn't been read to in a long time.
Right.
And I've got
Hmm.
the book on a big PowerPoint screen behind me so they can see all the illustrations and
Oh,
they get to
those
just relax.
illustrations.
I know.
Yes.
God, Toby's amazing.
Yeah.
And, I think they appreciate somebody talking to them about what they feel, you
Right.
know?
And actually
Yeah.
helping them to explore their feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's okay to maybe not think like you think you're supposed to think.
Hmm.
Because,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been interesting. And so we'll see. She's trying to make this a bigger curriculum. So it's,
That is really good.
yeah, yeah.
It's like a Department of Education thing. Why are you so into mindfulness and wellness?
Um, I'm all, I think I just, because I see what it does for your life.
Hmm.
Like I said, it was probably about 14 years ago. I started working with my friend Stephanie. She's a life coach, and it was terrifying. The first day I met with her, we're sitting there. She had just started doing this life coaching, and she's been one of my best friends. And I'm sitting in her office. She's shooing her kids out the door, and I'm hanging onto the chair with every ounce of energy that I had because I wanted to run. I wanted to run because I was terrified. I didn't
Did
know
you
why I
just
was terrified.
agree to go see her just to help her out?
Well, she'd been a good friend of mine, and she's been talking with me. We've been talking about how she's developing this, and I've always been a little bit mindful. I've been aware of things,
Hmm.
trying to be conscious. It's just kind of, I think, how I've been wired,
Yeah.
aware of what I say, but I hadn't really had the chance to hone it in or even realized it was a thing.
Yes.
But in talking with Stephanie and helping her, oh, it's snowing. Ugh.
Oh no, the sun is shining. It's on your side of the mountain.
But in talking with her about what she was developing, and it just really resonated with me. And so I thought, well, let's give this
So
life
try.
coaching thing a try.
Yeah.
And like I said, that first day I wanted to run. Oh my God, I was so scared. But over the years, I came across some old journals a few years ago from when I
Yeah.
first started this, and you just think, wow, come a long way.
Isn't
You
that
know?
something?
Yeah. Is it, you've been through that yourself too, and they're usually little tiny incremental steps, but
Yeah. And you know what? Actually, I remember. So I used to write in journals all the time, and then I just had volumes of my journals that I'd saved probably from the time I was about 20, 19,
uh-huh.
20, somewhere around there. And I was looking at them, and the movement was not significant. Like the amount of change that I was experiencing or going through was
Uh-huh.
not significant. Then, like, I got married, and that sucked. And and the movement happened, but it was not in a positive direction. It was like I
Mm.
was more and more frustrated, more and more angry. And I started to just type my journals, and then I started to erase them because I was like, I can't keep going. Every time I read through this, I'm going through it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe in the last 7 or 8 years, that's where it was like, I'm changing and I need to change in a positive direction because I'm not
Hmm.
just living my life anymore. I got to take care of these kids too.
Yeah. Good. Well, it shows you how far you've come or not come. I
Right.
mean, I took all my old journals and a couple years ago, I just burned them because I read through them. I'm like, okay, but a lot of them were just lamenting the same thing.
Same.
Blah, blah,
Right.
blah.
That's what, yes. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly what you said. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm like, thank you. And I burned them and now when I journal, it's about things that matter, like progression or thoughts or, I don't know, not the same lamenting that journals can
Yes.
be.
It's almost less lamenting and more of, I wonder, where you try to dig deep into your head. Why do I feel this way? Why
Mm-hmm.
did I react that way?
Yeah.
What could it be? Yeah.
I'm going to send you, I signed up for this program last year,
Mhm.
Feminine Power, and it's such a cool course, and it's all online stuff. And I have it on a Google Drive that I've shared with a couple other girlfriends. I'll send you the link
Oh, okay.
and just read through the coursework and do the notes, because that's how I journal now. Is I follow prompts, and it's getting you out of the push, and into sitting back and being more receptive and being more honest with yourself. And I'll send you the
Mm.
link. You'll dig it.
Yeah.
It's really
You now
interesting.
owe me like 10 or 15 links. Just know
I know. So I've got.
that. Oh man, I love
uh,
it. That is
uh,
so good.
yeah.
Okay, so just so you know, what I will probably do is take the video and chop it down into
Okay.
something that's real palatable for social media, put the whole interview on YouTube, and take the audio and put that out as a podcast.
Nice.
So it'll be on different platforms everywhere.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's why I showered
I
first
know.
time in a week.
When I was reading back through your text this morning, you're like, let's do it on Sunday. It'll give me a reason to shower.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
I still have my pajama bottoms on. FYI, I
Oh,
did put on the nice shirt.
yeah. Nice shirt and leggings. I'm like,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
leggings are good enough. No one's going to see my leggings. And if I turn these, nobody will see the dishes either.
All right. I want to make sure I have your right email.
Yes.
Um. Oh yeah, the Gmail. Yep. Okay.
Isabella F.
Yep. I'll send you all that stuff.
Cool, cool, cool.
Oh, my friend, I love you. I miss you.
I love you.
So good to see you.
So good to see you. Yes. We got to do this again soon.
Yeah. Yeah. We will. All right. Tell your kids hello.
I will. They've been coming out. I mean,
No.
there was a couple times that I looked away and I was glaring. I'm like, oh, wait, I'm still on camera.
I look
Yeah.
out and I see the chipmunks running around the lawn. So
Oh, nice. Well, you have a beautiful Sunday.
thanks, you too. And we'll talk soon.
Okay. All
All right.
right.
Love
Take
you.
care. Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.